Hey guys, thanks for watching another episode of Brownings by Design. We finally got our fireplace upgrade taken care of. I can't wait to show you the final reveal, and Clint is going to take you through all the steps, so stay tuned.
Okay, so we're going to get started building our brick hearth. Now, before we do that, we want to go ahead and cut back some of this base trim right here so that we can go all the way to the wall with our brick. So this is what I'm going to use as the initial base for our hearth. And what this is it is 1 inch thick rigid foam insulation, okay? And this has a pretty good thermal barrier. This fireplace doesn't have an exposed flame, so I'm not too worried about the heat hitting this. I'll lay this down and then I'm going to put 1/2 inch concrete board or Dura-Rock on top of this, and then I will fasten my brick to that. So that way it elevates the whole thing about 2 inches once I get it there. Now I want to show you a trick. As you can see, I've got, all these recesses in here on both sides, and I'm going to show you a quick little trick on how to transfer this onto this so you can cut it so it'll slide right in place and we can glue it down. So what I want to do is I want to take just some cardboard strips, okay? And you want to take one, and I've already cut this one to the length of the furthest most piece, okay? So I stick that down in there, and then, where's others, okay? I've got these that I pre-cut. All you want to do is cut these to the length of the items that you're putting in. And then once those are cut, and these can be a little bit longer because you need a piece that's going to transfer across. So you'll see what I mean in a second. So once I have this, I will take just some super glue, and I'll put a little super glue on both sides of this, and then I will push it down on here just to hold that in place, okay? Don't have to put a lot of pressure on it, just let it sit there, okay? Take another piece. I'll take a little longer piece on this. We'll go about right. Now we'll split it. So we have 2 of them. Okay, so some on this end, some on this end. You don't need a lot. We're not going to be manhandling this thing. We're just going to kind of use it to set the template. You can use a little hot glue gun. I couldn't find mine, so I'm just using this. And let that sit for a second. So we got our template glued together, and right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it up, and as you can see, I marked the center line on it. I marked exactly where the center of this whole thing is, and on this piece of rigid foam, I've marked the center of it. Now I predetermined the size of this thing, so now I just pick up this template very carefully. Don't want to break it away from the stuff, which I just did. That's right. We'll get it to work. Okay. So I know that those are the farthest pieces out right there. All right. And let's see. Get that set up. That set up right there. Okay. That should be just about perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark all the spaces in here. I'm actually going to move this one up a little bit because it came off. So I got the baseboard cut. I'm gonna put this in. Nice little tight fit right there. Yeah, that's gonna work perfect. And now what I'll do is I will put some Durarock on top of this, and I will mud the edges, wrap it around the sides. That way I have a good base to attach my brick to. Okay, so I have some Gorilla Glue extra strength that I'm going to glue this foam piece down to the old piece of slate. And I'm using this because this is a really good bonding agent with all different types of materials. And so I'll put this on here pretty liberally. You know, want to make sure you have enough that it'll grab really good. Plus I had this left over from another project, so I figured I'd go ahead and burn this stuff up before anything else. Any kind of adhesive that'll hold up under, you know, a little greater temperatures will work. All right, we're gonna stick it there. All right, and then this bad boy, and slide it into place. And you wanna kind of move it back and forth, settle it down. We're gonna put some weight on it eventually, but just to get the initial stick down. All right. Now it says that this stuff takes 24 hours to cure, but because we're on a flat surface, we can continue to work on top of this, and then we'll put weight on everything, let it cure all at once, and we can come back and attack it with mortar afterwards. And I'm using a little bit of tape just to hold this tight. You can use clamps. Because I'm just waiting on this glue to set. Just doing this so I can kind of keep it in line for a bit. It holds it. We get some nice crisp lines. So I've marked all these bricks that I have to cut down to go around the edge of the hearth. So what I'm doing right now is I wet them a little bit because I don't have a wet saw, and I'm using just an angle grinder with a cutting wheel on it. So I wet them down to cut down on the heat and on the dust. Then want to make sure you protect yourself. Putting the mortar on the back of the tiles, and this is your notched trowel, and what I'm doing with this is putting little grooves in it, so when you smash it down, it levels out. Once you smash this against here, it's got airways, so you can smash it down and it'll sit flush. Move it back and forth, get your spacing right, and then just leave it be and keep moving down the line. It's best if you go ahead and lay your tiles out ahead of time, so you can cut any that you need to cut. And I'm doing this line first because the next line is actually going to overlap. And so, yeah, we're just going to keep moving along steadily. You have about, you've got roughly 2 hours of work time with this stuff. So if you add a little bit more water, you can sometimes get some more time out of it. But this is just regular tile mortar. And just want to, you know, keep your workspace clean. Put some plastic down. And get any excess off and just keep moving down the line. All right. So I have started back buttering these bricks. You can just put down mortar and trowel it on top of this, but I wanted to try and keep it as clean as possible and as controlled as possible. So I'm doing each individual brick, which is a little more time consuming. but it'll pay off in the end. What I'm doing is I'm setting them down, and I'm using 1/4-inch spacers, just like you would with tile, just to keep my lines nice and even. And I have laid these out ahead of time to see what would be the best spacing for this. That way I keep my center line and keep this even all the way. I didn't want little trim bricks on the side. So I'm going to keep moving along this way, then I'll go to the next row, then we'll start working up in this area up here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So I got the last brick laid in place last night, and I let it sit for 24 hours so that the mortar could set up. And now what I've done is I've mixed up the grout that we're going to be putting in between the bricks, and I'm putting it into a grout bag so that I can control where it's going to go. I don't want to do this like a regular tile job to where you'd be smearing it on and troweling it off. We're not doing that because this is super porous brick. It's not like glazed tile, so you know all the moisture and stuff in here would seep into that. So we want to be real controlled about our joints and take it slow and keep it clean. As you can see, I am finishing up the grout, filling in some of the spaces that didn't quite fill already. And then I go back over after I do all this, and I'll take a wet sponge, just kind of wipe everything down a little bit. That'll help clean up any smears on the brick, anything like that. But we're getting there, almost done.
What do you guys think? I really, really love the addition of the brick. It just gives it a whole new look. And if you stay tuned for our next video, we're gonna do part 2 where we add shiplap to the background of the wall. So I'm really excited about it. All right, we'll see you guys next time.